Awesome. Okay. So we're going to go do this. 3, 2, 1. Hey, gang. Welcome to the Great Lakes Fittest podcast. I am Josh, the co-director of Great Lakes Fittest, which is a competition that we're throwing here in Traverse City, Michigan on September 14th of 2024. It's going to be awesome. And today I am joined by a sponsor. His name is Anthony Whalen, and his product is this push-up chalk. I can't wait to talk about this. Anthony, thanks so much for coming on the show today, man.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, Josh.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's a pleasure to meet you and just get a little bit deeper insight into, well, I mean, this product, that's what we're here to talk about, but like just you in general and your background and stuff like that. So why don't we start with that? Let's talk about CrossFit. Let's talk about gym. Let's how did it all start for you? Where are we at?
Sure.
Let's hear it, man. Let's hear it.
Sure. So at least on the push-up chalk side, I think it kind of started like how a lot of new products end up coming to fruition. I couldn't find something on the market that checked all the boxes I wanted in the gym chalk. So,
Yeah.
I was stupid enough to go try and make my own. And that was really like, yeah, it was really around like three main things, right? Like I wanted something personal. I
Right.
was kind of tired of gambling on with whatever was going to be in the chalk bucket at my CrossFit gym. Is it going to be all powder? Is there going to be like a Band-Aid floating in there? Like I didn't know. I didn't want to take the risk, right? So
Right.
personal. I needed to be portable, right? I got to throw in my gym bag. I travel for work. I want to be able to rely on the chalk I have on me. And then finally, it needed to be less messy. Even if you do the
Yeah.
buckets, you do the plastic container or the
Hmm.
plastic bag. Like at some point, it's gonna spill. It's
Yeah.
gonna make a mess.
Yeah.
So I needed something personal, portable, less mess, and I landed on something simple, which was this push-up style design. So you get kind of block gym chalk exactly how you want it, time and time again. And
Right.
that's how it started, and it was off to the races after I made a couple prototypes. People thought it was cool,
Yeah.
and yeah, just expanding it from there.
Awesome, dude. That's great. And so you do what gym do you go to?
So currently, Cornerstone Fitness,
Okay.
which is in just outside of Cincinnati, Ohio, which is
Cool.
where I'm located.
Awesome. Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, you were kind enough to send us, I say me and Brad Giglio, the other co-director of Great Lakes Fittest. We also own CrossFit Due North. You were kind enough to send us a decent amount of this to work into our gym. Like we have these little carts. Like we started it during COVID, where there's like
Mhm.
towels and like spray bottles, and whiteboards, to write the workout on or whatever. Well, now they're loaded with these, and we do have like one chalk bucket, but we're down to one from like three or four because
Nice.
these are great. And like people will just grab them and they'll put them on their like J hooks at the gym, and they
Perfect.
can just like grab it, and they're good to go for their pull-ups or whatever. If we're doing lifting, they can have their own like personals. It's a really, really smart idea. Like
Well, thank you.
yeah, I'm like, I can't believe it's 2024. Like, I can't believe no one thought of this earlier. But like, nonetheless, like, we're happy to have it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. So I mean, when just to kind of elaborate on like the
Mhm.
usage of it. So like, as as the directors of a competition, like you don't want to have we have like we're gonna have over 100 people like doing these workouts, and it's like
Mhm.
if we have 3 chalk buckets for 4 people, or I mean, not for
Right.
for over 100 people, 4 chalk buckets, like, this solves a lot of problems. Like, we got a box of these, and you can grab one, each team can grab one and just do it, per workout. Um, Super easy, and like you said, the cleanliness of it is really, really great. It's reduced, like, a ton of dust and chalk nuggets, if you will,
Right.
whatever, around the gym. So I mean, it's awesome. So that's really cool. That whole everything you just said was exactly the kind of stuff I wanted to ask you about. I am interested, like obviously, like push
Mhm.
up chalk, like it makes sense. Where
Mhm.
did you like? How did this come to fruition? Like I feel like must have been some other ideas of how to make a personalized chalk, but like this push up idea, it's like it fits in the palm of your hand. It's like boom, pops off. Like how did it arrive at this final
Yeah.
thing?
So I think it took about 6 or 7 iterations going back and forth and finding suppliers and doing that whole
Sure.
process. And originally, I wanted to do, and well, I'll take a step back. So I got the thought of just putting it in a tube when I was putting on deodorant one morning, right?
Oh,
I mean, imagine
sure.
imagine putting on stick deodorant and it
Yeah.
wasn't in a tube. It'd be like this would be a mess. Like
Yeah.
this would be terrible. So I was like, oh, let's just put the chalk in a tube. But most deodorant sticks, they have the little twist dial, right?
Mhm.
And it kind of
Yeah.
there's a kind of a platform that runs up the stick in the middle, and you can't do that with you can do it with deodorant because it's kind of
It's like
it's not
like
solid, it's
yeah,
gel.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
So it's okay doing that, but with the chalk stick, it'll crumble as that stick twists. So that
Got it.
idea was out. So
Cool.
that's
Yeah,
why I
yeah.
went back to
Makes
just
sense.
even simpler with a push-up style, just with the plunger at the bottom,
Yeah.
and dispensing as needed.
Yeah. That, I mean, makes perfect sense. It's just, I mean,
Hmm.
it's just funny, like when just doing everyday things and those ideas like pop in your head, like, oh, this is it. Like you're like,
Yeah,
it just like
yeah,
hits you and you're like, okay, this is, and you're doing the sketches and then the drawing board and all that stuff. So that's,
yeah.
that's awesome. Now, as far as like, it's only been out, like it's not like, it's kind of a new thing. Like it's,
Yeah, yeah. I
it's
mean, I turned the website on to nobody even noticing, like almost exactly a year ago.
yeah,
Uh, so very new. Yeah.
that's awesome. And like your plans for expansion, like is seeking out. I feel like competitions are a great way to kind of like introduce something like this. Um, would you agree with that? Like
Yeah, yeah.
pretty
It's
sweet,
and at this point it's kind of it's a lot of testing things, kind of trial and error sort of feedback loops with
right?
athlete sponsorships and event sponsorships on very small local scales and then bigger scales like your guys' event, and just seeing kind of what we get in terms of feedback. How's the
Yeah,
reach get from all those different things?
cool.
um, and yeah, everything's been great so far. I mean, the cool part too is a lot of people reach out to us internationally. I got a
Oh,
message from
awesome,
somebody in Greenland, like, hey, how can I get this in Greenland? I'm like, how did you even find us? So,
dude. That's
uh,
cool. That's
yeah,
cool.
there's a lot. There's no shortage of people looking for it, which is really cool
Mhm.
and really reaffirming that we're onto something.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. Now, as far as like further expansion, like
Hmm.
do you have ideas for working with other like you said, like I appreciate you said bigger competitions like ours. I appreciate that very much.
Absolutely.
We're working on like creating like this big thing, but like have you
Hmm.
maybe had discussions with like people at like Wadapalooza or like Granite Games or like these like like I say larger like
Hmm.
potential like international attracting international athletes and things like that.
Not quite at that scale yet.
Okay.
I mean, certainly would be open to having those conversations, but just not something that we've been super focused on so far. And
Right.
I'm kind of taking the approach like I like I like the idea, and especially I think it fits well with the CrossFit community specifically, and that's kind of
Mhm.
mostly been my focus because I'm familiar with it.
Yeah.
Of like, there's a lot of, hey, I found this really cool thing, and there's a lot of like sharing at the ground level. Like,
Yeah.
you might not necessarily need these big overarching huge sponsorships,
Yeah.
where there's a lot of sharing and people talking about cool stuff they find in the CrossFit community. So
Yeah.
kind of taking that approach at first,
I love
um,
that.
to get the word out.
I think that that's like yeah, like you said, that's like grassroots, old school
Hmm.
CrossFit, right? Like
Right.
some gyms barely have signs, and it's like you have to know, like like you have to know
Right.
what you're
Yeah.
looking for. And
Sure.
I know with our gym, that's something that we've always thought about is like we want to be sought out. Like that's the
Yep.
kind of like community that we are. So like you like fostering that, by like word of mouth and everything is like that's really sweet. Um,
Yeah.
so we are gonna have hundreds of thousands of people watch this. So I'm going to say it right now, like push up chalk. You got to check these guys out. It's a really, really awesome product. And I got to just real quick plug or like bring up the, oops, sorry about that. Bring up the website right here. Personal, portable, less mess gym chalk. That sums it up right there. It's a really, really awesome product. And we're really happy to have Anthony and his team on board for this year's Great Lakes Fittest competition. Again, September 14th, 2024, here in Traverse City, Michigan. It's going to be at a baseball stadium, just like last year, which is super fun, super cool. And if you can make it out, it would be awesome. And hopefully, Anthony, I don't know if you were, I would hope maybe you could make the trip up, but we'll see. That would be super cool. But again, thank you so much for, I mean, again, from our gym community, thank you so much for sending us some to try out. And then on behalf of like all the competitors and people at Great Lakes Fittest, we really appreciate it, man. It's really awesome.
Absolutely. Happy to. And you guys have been fantastic to work with. And I look forward to doing it for years to come.
Awesome, dude. Well, man, thank you so much for coming on today. And we'll talk to you again soon, all right?
All right. Take care, Josh. Thanks.
All right, man.